start listening to us, because it's more than just legislation and regulation. There's a lot more that goes to all of this. But the regulation is what you would have heard for if you heard from Parliament. In Parliament, it's just regulation is asked for.
Yes,
it's because there are certain things that need to be done that are not being done, and it takes TCD to get out there and do it. But if you're working a 9 to 5, a lot of the stuff, especially if the rideshare is going to happen at night.
Yes,
and so what we hope is that it doesn't blemish the taxi reputation, because people are quick to say, yeah, Miss Lady standing at the bus stop, she's waiting for the bus hasn't showed up for about an hour, so then she tries to flag a taxi, and I go past her. Guess what she says? Not that the bus didn't come,
right?
The taxi didn't stop for me.
Understood. Okay.
Right? And so we just gotta try to make sure that I don't want to say pointing the finger at the right person, but we're dealing with enough of these issues that are going to arise. Okay, now that you've put it through, let's talk up to people about what could potentially happen, and you can be proactive, not reactive.
Well, what's your general comment, though? Well, let me think. Very often, and it's been said by successive ministers, right, that the industry itself is too fractured to present a unified voice to government to address the things you're talking about, for example. So there isn't like a full voice that says, you know what, let's do or don't do rideshare. There's not a full voice that says, let's do things. And so what comment do you have about that?
It is fractured. And you got so many different personalities, and you have so many, and everybody thinks that they're their own business, right? And like you said, there are requirements underneath the permit that they've given us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we meet the minimum or the bare minimum, whatever, what else needs to be done? I love speaking for the industry. I don't work well with people that I don't work well with people who cannot keep up with the way I think. That's not trying to be negative. Sure. It is what. Yeah, but my time on the young lady said I should be on the board. My time on the board, I wanted to get things done, and I think I got as much accomplished as I could without ruffling too many feathers. But when feathers started to get ruffled, and people started to get disrespectful, then that's when I step out, and I can still help the industry, but I don't need to be part of a structure. But I do get government benefits by us being fractured. And they do. They benefit from us being fractured. They know that we are fractured.
Right. I mean, so what happens?
They should accept that we're fractured after all these years.
Right.
Because it didn't just happen. We've always been fractured. I've seen from 2000, when I came into the industry, I've seen things that people are still complaining about today. It shouldn't be like that, but it is, because they know that. Just for instance, it's summer, it's title season coming right around the corner, right? It's here, right? Who's going to go out and strike? If there was going to be a strike, I'm not saying that there is, because I'm not calling for one. Sure. But who's going to go out? I mean, because we had because government has not yet figured out how to get rid of that shoulder season where there is practically no work, and so we're actually pulling pocket lint. They haven't figured out how to fix that. So we have to do the best that we can during these next couple of months. Nobody's going to complain about anything. Perfect time to put rideshare in.
But I mean, that may be a bit cynical, I guess, because the question then becomes, I guess, the question from the government side might be that we want to do something. Let's say we want to do A. We can't get, or the government cannot get, a unified thought process around A to say, yes, that's what to do, because one group says yes for A, and then the rest of them say other things. And so it's hard to then say, okay, you know what, this is an accepted solution. So government is, you're right, at the end of the day, don't do anything because there is no unified voice. So is there any impetus, I suppose, to try to get a unified voice? Or is it basically become so structured or stressed that people just say, okay, well, forget about it?
I think the current executive can try to get a unified voice.
Okay.
They may not have my voice, but they can try to get a unified voice.
Making me smile. And so because I don't know this, would be how many groups currently represent taxi operators? So,
As far as I know, just the Bermuda Taxi
so it's
BTOA.
and BTO is operator.
That's
or
an
owner?
association, Bermuda
Right.
Taxi Owners and Operators Association.
Right.
Right. That's the entity that is supposed to represent all taxi drivers.
Okay.
Whether you're a member or not, apparently. But then there's the different dispatch companies too, which a former executive had worked really hard to get the dispatch companies to amalgamate.
Okay.
Kind of got it, and now the new BTOA is trying to put in another dispatch company. So it's like you kind of back to square one in a sense. But that they are the only. Yeah, what I do is with several people or associates, and we just brainstorm and say, okay. And our focus has been the TI, the H. I just say TIA because a friend of mine used to always say thanks in advance. One of my associates used to say thanks in advance,
Right.
and it's TIA. It's Transportation Initiative Associates. So and we just focus on the HRC because the HRC takes administration. You have to keep an eye on make sure everything's going okay. So we just kind of spend some of our day administering, watching. We're not dispatching, we're not involved at all.
Right.
We're just watching to make sure that people are doing what they're supposed to do. Because if you can put in your taxi number, your live location, then the other person can do it too. And we have, like Shawnette had said, I've shown older people how to use it. I've showed older guys how to use a calendar, how to actually book their work on their phone so that they know if I call and I say, do you have a job at 3:00? Can you help me out? They can look at their calendar.
Okay.
My dad is my biggest student.
Yes,
because and so
Brother B, well done.
I also want to shout out to WOI. WOI work. I think it's called Working on It. A young gentleman, Shakeem Oldboy, has introduced a credit card option, and I signed myself up. I signed my dad up. I had another friend sign up. It is amazing. It's really, really wonderful. It's a quick and easy way for a driver who doesn't want a clunking machine or anything. Just using your phone, using technology that's already at your fingertips to process credit cards. And I'm impressed. So I wanted to give him a shout out. My dispatch company is Hitch, and I don't care what anybody says about it. It works so well for me.
Okay.
And I am starting to make friends on Hitch because people make you their favorite driver, and so they ask for you if they see you working, and I get to see some people that so if maybe I drove Jane yesterday and she told me she was going to Beluga Bar or wherever she was going, I'll see her and I'll say, hey, I'll remember that she had told me that, and I'll say, hey, well, how was it? Oh, you remember? Well, yeah, I remember because I had you the other day.
Okay.
So it allows you to make friendships, and so that's all I wish for everybody is they make their passengers become, some of them will become your friends.
Yeah,
they'll become your friends, and and it's really just a rewarding feeling at the end of the day. There's a little lady that I've been giving transportation to, that her husband, they came over on the cruise ship and he got sick, and she's going to him at the hospital every day, going there, and she was having problems getting taxis, so she would call me, and if I can't help her, I would help her get a taxi. But we're trying to get the hospital to use the HRC.
Wow.
We're trying to get them to use the HRC because there is a phone there, I think, that goes into a local dispatch company, but it's just not working.
And so, I mean, I asked you earlier, you said no, but so it's interesting that this HRC you keep referring to, it seems to be working so fine, yet there is low uptake. There's no cost to it. So I'm trying to find out now, like, what is the downfall if there's all these good things about it that, what gives?
The only thing that started to happen is that Telegram, and I think it's worldwide, it has nothing to do with Bermuda. Telegram has started asking people to pay like $1.49 one time to get that SMS code to sign up.
Okay.
But for anybody else, it's not. That's the only charge that I've seen. And we've been telling people of a workaround, if they contact us, a workaround. But if you're brand new to Telegram, you might have to just pay that $149
$2
fee.
So,
Yeah. I mean, all these drivers know that their first job, they get it's 100%. You know, or I could say like Trump would say 1,000% return. You know,
Right.
because there is no middleman. We take nothing. You know, it's between you and the hotel, you and the restaurant, you and the retailer. So like I said, the aquarium uses Rugged Rental uses.
And so for example, if I use it, then how do I pay it? It's paid by my credit card to the driver directly, or how does that work?
How do you pay what?
For the fare. If
No, this only gets you. The person gets them a taxi.
right.
Right. However they would normally pay is how it happens.
Okay.
It's nothing goes through. It's nothing going through the app. The only thing that's happening is that there's networking between the hotel or the restaurant and the drivers. That's it. So it's just getting you the taxi, and you know that whoever's coming in is going to be there within 10 minutes. Achilles is another place, all the way down by St.
Right.
Regis. Swear by it.
And you keep saying all the way, it's not all the way, but okay, it's in St. George's, yes.
I mean,
for me.
it's at the far.
I know it is.
That's the
Yeah.
far west. That's the far west.
It's still not
far east. I'm sorry, far
Okay.
east.
I mean, no traffic, 20 minutes here, there. But I got that.
But yeah, St. George's has always been a problematic
Yes.
place, and Achilles and St. Regis seem to be the only two places we can get to use it down there. We can't get Wahoo's, we can't get Whitehorse, we can't get the Wharf, but we always hear about complaints. Oh, we couldn't get a taxi.
And so this is the first I've been hearing about in some respects, right? Is there an advocacy on behalf of the taxi drivers, right, to start to, better inform again the public about these comments? Because so often we hear the criticism of taxi drivers, but there's no pushback. You know what I mean? Like there is, and so from what you're saying, there should be, or there can be informed comment that this is not correct or something like this. Does anybody do that?
Well, I tried to do that after the Parliament situation when they kept mentioning that 36-minute wait, because
Okay.
I have not seen a 36-minute wait either on my dispatch company or on my
That's
or on
interesting.
the HRC. So I don't know how they compiled those numbers, but they definitely would not get a 30. The Lauren and any of these hotels would tell me there is not a 36-minute wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Average 36-minute wait.
Right. Well, again, it's interesting, and tonight's not intended to bash government or whatever. It's just meant to provide information, right? So, different question. You just said that the Bermuda is about, if it's not already into the high season for tourist arrivals, so you can get all these mega cruise ships coming down. I know the planes are getting much more full these days, and so
Schools are about to be out.
schools out too, right? Which has a different impact, that's for sure. Has a decrease in traffic, generally speaking, but more people moving around.
But more people coming in.
Right. So
For vacation.
if you had to, what is the plan for better managing the people movement going forward? Hold on, caller.
I have no plan. All I can do is ask the drivers that when they're out there, if they're working their 9 to 5 or 9 to 8 or 9 to 12 or whatever period of time they're working, to
Yeah.
do the best that they can do and work smart. You know, if the first flight is not coming in until 10:30, and you're airport sitter.
Yes.
If the first flight's not coming until 10:30, but you know that the Norwegian cruise line is sending people down to Penner's Wharf at 9:30, if the first flight's not due until 10:30,
I got you.
why are you at the airport? Why aren't you at Penner's Wharf?
Okay.
You know, if you want to work cruise ship business, but you don't want to go to dockyard, go to Penner's Wharf. Look at the the Norwegian Cruise Line schedule.
Yes.
Just work smarter. Know when flights are landing, you know, and that'll give you an idea of when to be around at Hamilton Princess. Because
Okay.
if flights are coming in at a certain time, and I'm talking
That's
about
fine.
actually not landing, when
Departing.
flights are departing.
Yeah.
If you kind of have an idea, we only have 2 flights that depart like really early in the morning. So you don't need you don't need a 50 cars at Hamilton Princess first thing in the morning, but there's like 3 or 4 flights that leave like midday 2, 3. Then that's when it's going to be heaviest, right?
Okay, fair enough.
You just gotta think it through.
Sure.
Yeah, and just try to work smarter with your apps. Like I know with my dispatch company, it makes no sense for me to be in Hamilton if there's 20, 30 other drivers sitting in Hamilton. Go to the outskirts of town and wait for it to go off. And you don't have to
Okay.
use a whole lot of gas. You don't have to keep driving. Sit, enjoy the view, something like that. That all comes towards your 16 hours, even if you're not if your wheels aren't moving. But it's going is the day where you're going to drive around looking for work.
Right.
You sit still and wait.
Okay, fair enough. Well, good evening, caller. Thank you for your patience. What's your question or comment?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I have public service vehicle license.
Yes.
I thought about doing that ride share.
Yes.
I don't think it's fair for me to do that, because the taxi drivers, they would suffer.
So sorry. So did you apply?
No. I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Because I think the taxis are suffering enough, and for us to come on and do that, suffer more.
That's interesting. So daytime, you drive a different vehicle, or you do something different?
Private car, right? I drive a private car.
Yes.
And I thought about that sharing.
Yes.
I said, no, mate, I'm not going to cut the taxi drivers through. No, mate.
That's interesting. So if I may, what do you use your current public service vehicle license for?
Minibus.
Okay. So do you drive minibus full time, or you drive it basically when you're not working?
Every now and again. Yeah.
Okay. And so
but
to actually see in question, do you think that driving a minibus takes away from the traffic, from the taxi business?
not right now, because taxes are up at the dockyard too as well.
Right.
Taxes and minibuses. But the minibuses mostly stay dockyard. They ain't do nothing else.
So how do you organize your day for driving?
Well, out of dockyard.
Okay, so you work the dockyard route to the beach and back?
Just doing tours, that's all.
Ah, on a minibus.
Yeah.
And is there a minimum number of people to get on a minibus to do a tour?
Yeah, it depends on how many people the bus takes.
Oh.
Yeah. It takes whatever.
So you might take say 10 people for a tour.
30 people. 25, 30 people. 10 people, yeah, we do that too.
Wait a minute, you do have a full size minibus, not the small ones.
We have both of
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
and mini and a small one.
Okay, gotcha.
Their work is more seasonal than our work is.
Gotcha.
Right.
So, so what do you do in the wintertime with your buses?
Well, wintertime, they do nothing wintertime. Nothing at all.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But what I'm basically saying, for me to do that sharing ride, I think it's stealing from the taxi drivers. I think that should never pass.
That's interesting.
It should never happen.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you, caller. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
I think a lot of us feel the same way. A lot of us feel, but it has passed, and if nothing at all, it will either help us or it will make us or break us. Simple as that. Some people, their inventory is going to be the same as the inventory that the rideshare driver uses. Some of us have other inventory. Some of us have corporate clients. Some of us have regular clients, right? So it's going to more impact the driver whose inventory is exactly the same as the rideshare.
And when you say inventory,
they're waiting for a job. They're always waiting for a job.
So explain again, please, what you mean by the inventory.
So you have right now, like seasonal, you got drivers that do tours. You have drivers who do corporate work. You have drivers and then you got drivers who are just sitting at the airport or at the hotel. They're waiting for a job.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
They are going to be impacted the same way as the rideshare driver, because the rideshare driver is going to be using an app. Okay. So if there is enough advertisement done for the ride sharing,
yes,
the rideshare driver will get a job over a taxi driver if it doesn't go over if they're not using an app, if they're not using the same app. You understand what I'm saying?
Help me. So right now, for example,
the rideshare driver has to take work using an app, but he gets it a minute after everybody else. If you're sitting at, say, Hamilton Princess, and you are not paying attention to your app or anything, that app, it's going to ring off. You're not going to pay attention to it. It's going to go to the rideshare driver.
Okay. I see.
That's they have to have an app, but if they have to all both they'd have to both be using
Understood,
the apps.
understood. So you have an app, you're a taxi driver,
Yeah.
I'm a rideshare person.
Yeah.
The call comes in to you, you're doing whatever you're doing, not paying attention. Within 60 seconds, it pops from you to me.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm looking at my thing all the time because that's my bread and butter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I may get it.
Right.
You may lose the job, what I call inadvertently, and I'll get it because I'm paying attention.
So we're gonna have to step up our game.
Gotcha.
We're gonna have to actually step up. Even while you're sitting there waiting at a taxi stand,
Yes.
you got to keep your eye on your app.
Okay.
If you want the work, I mean, that's based. Some people just out there for the fun.
Sure. Well, again, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think a lot of the calls tonight or many calls have talked about they don't think it's going to work, but it'll do its own thing. For example, number one,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how many people apply to get the rideshare permit
Yeah.
permission, and then because it's closed already, right? I think the deadline closed.
They extended it.
Did they?
Yeah, they didn't get enough people. And when you say
that's a
if
smile.
it's going to work, just remember that there have been gypsy cabs
Yeah.
since time began, and it works. We weren't complaining about them,
Right.
We weren't complaining about. I mean, I personally wasn't complaining about them. They aren't taking so much business from.
They do fill a niche. That's for sure.
They do fill a
Yeah.
niche, and they don't care if people get in their car, the sand and stuff like that. Tobacco Bay loves
Right.
them. Fine. I'm not mad at them. If I'm not going down to Penner's Wharf, then why am I complaining?
Gotcha. That's
Right?
Yeah.
So we have got to, like I said, we have to look at our inventory, our basket, and
Yeah.
figure out what do we need to do to make things better for ourselves.
Again, that's interesting. And of course, I wasn't aware that they extended the deadline, which is always I'll get in trouble now, but when a deadline gets extended, there's a reason for it.
They just didn't have enough people applying for it.
And so-
They just didn't have enough people, I'm sure. And I don't know if the insurance aspect of it has been worked out yet.
Right.
And, because taxi drivers have the option of getting operator's liability insurance for their second driver.
Yes.
And that's one thing I wanted to mention to make sure that those that are hesitant to let others drive their car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time I let somebody else drive my car, I really worry.
Yes.
But it has to be out there on the road, right? And asking your driver to get operator's liability insurance gives you a little bit of peace of mind
Yes, in case something goes wrong.
in case something goes wrong.
Okay, now let's do these, some of these questions quickly. Second. This is a question, I'll just read it as it states, is that why is it that the local community cannot get a taxi, and when you call for a taxi, there are days you need a debit card or a credit card?
So
Is
that's
that correct?
yeah. So one of the dispatch companies that I'm aware of, but it's not my one,
Sure.
is that they do all kinds of things. They ask for deposits. They ask for this. They ask for that. If you're on it using an app, it shouldn't. There shouldn't be any human interaction really. It should just be going out to the drivers that are in the area.
Okay.
It shouldn't be. So you shouldn't have to give a credit card or debit card. But if you're using, like, for instance, Hitch is based on your having put your credit card in there. That means
Right.
I don't have to worry about if you're going to pay me.
Like Uber,
And I
okay.
don't. And you when the ride is out, you jump out. I'm not
Yes.
gonna stop. I can stop on Queen Street briefly to let you out. I'm not gonna sit there and try and deal with money.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody's changing to the option of making it, even though you get the job via the app, you can convert it to cash, and that way, I'm not sure
Okay,
about
fair enough.
those logistics.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. 1 second. That was the first part. I wasn't aware of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the next part of the question is, we just read that. Try to summarize.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now. Bermuda Live on
You
YouTube.
use an app.
Subscribe now.
So only a sector of the public are getting.
Bermuda Live on
if their
YouTube.
subscriptions,
Subscribe.
Subscribers are not got their apps on, or they're not doing whatever. They wouldn't get a tax.
And that's interesting in terms of we make assumptions a lot of times, right? That maybe this is an opportunity for whether it be yourselves or somebody to take an independent view almost and educate the public more on all these things, that this is the Bermuda public taxi industry circumstance or environment. These are the things, because I have no idea what you're talking about in some of the apps because I don't use a taxi.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to know if there are other persons who do use taxis, they don't know about these things, and therefore you're right, they are experiencing the difficulty and the whatever it can be. So that might be an opportunity for somebody to start saying, listen, you know, we are going to now educate the public on how these things actually work.
Yeah, that was an initiative of a former executive, and I think the current one is probably going to trying to do that also, because a lot of the issues that we have, a lot of the negativity that we get
Yes.
is because the public has assumptions, and it's so easy just to take a paintbrush
Protocol.
and say it's all
Correct.
of us.
That's my point,
And
yes.
and it really
Yeah.
isn't. If you are living in in Smith's Parish, for instance, and
Yes.
you're trying to get a taxi and you've dialed as opposed to using Hitch,
Yes.
you may not get a taxi. It may take longer for you to get a taxi because
Again, I think that's very interesting, by the way. Good evening, caller. Can you break it down, please?
No, I was
Don't worry.
doing something.
turn his tree frogs down.
What's your question or
Yeah,
comment?
I'm not gonna say exactly, but
Don't worry, stay focused, stay focused.
Hey, good night, all.
Yes.
One question, Mr. Springle. Do you think that ride sharing will devalue the permit price of taxis?
I don't think so. I think that taxi drivers will devalue the permit value of taxis if we don't step up to the plate and do what we're supposed to do.
Okay.
We've had run of this show for so long, and there are still so many drivers that are not out there doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, first and foremost, we will devalue our permit value.
Okay. Second question. Do you think that temporary
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now. Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.
And said, I'm selling my permit. You
Bermuda
get about
Live on YouTube.
10 takers
Subscribe
right
now.
one time. The value of the permit, because people know that there is value in having a taxi, and that is not going to go away.
I've heard some drivers have said that the permit value will drop if they get a temporary taxi permit. If that what became legal, yeah, I've heard that mentioned. But anyway, thank you. Interesting. All the best.
Thank you.
And good night to you all.
Night.
Thank you very much. I'm just checking for any final question to come in. Oops. I'll take this call. We are past the hour, but we'll go for a little bit longer. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Insight. What's your question or comment?
Ms. Pringle,
Sir?
Yes. It's an announcement. Go
I
ahead.
would like to tell this young lady that she is 100% on point. I listen to the show. I listen to the call-ins. I recognize the voices. No doubt mine is going to get recognized. I'm a taxi driver operator as well. What has prompted me to call was just replying to the last caller. We will be the demise of our permit.
Okay, well done.
We don't pay attention. Ms. Pringle, I guess you figured out my voice by now, right?
Keep going.
I'm not saying
And
anything.
I've listened to all the callers. I've listened to you, and you're saying exactly what I would be saying. I'm just calling to tell you so I can go back and finish listening.
Got
That you are 100% on point. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
All right, my dear.
Thank you, sir. And what's interesting now, but I always smile at this program, because people listen at the last minute, they send all these questions in. And what's interesting now, somebody, they told me they have a question, right? I'm going to wait till they type it into my phone and then I'll read the question to see what the question is. Let's see how fast they can type. Does that one?
While you're waiting for them to type, I just with the ride share, I just really want people to understand, as we had spoken about, is that the road is not going to exempt you. the road is hard out there.
Yes. Yes.
And the maintenance costs and everything, you're going to have to do oil changes more often. You're going to have to do maintenance and service more often. And just remember to factor that into your budget.
Yeah, I got you. That's
You know,
the article.
because
Yes.
the road is very cruel out there,
Yeah,
especially
trust
for our vehicles are a lot bigger. They're not commercial vehicles,
Yeah.
so they take a lot of they take a lot a lot of abuse. But remember
got you.
remember that for your family car.
Understood.
And be cautious because you might be calling a taxi because your family car goes out.
So this is the question. I'm smiling now. You might have asked before, actually. So, will the rideshare operators be required to sign up with each dispatch company? And as best you're aware, what is the cost of doing that? Because taxi drivers have to pay dispatch companies each month.
As far as if I recall, the ride shares were going to be given the access to the dispatch companies for free.
Oh, well.
I could be wrong.
Understood, okay.
But that's kind of what I heard. And it's only 150 of them. We have to sign up for a dispatch company, and but I'm hoping that maybe one day government will say, okay, we've been doing this sign up for a dispatch company for so long, maybe we don't have to do it anymore.
Gotcha.
Maybe we don't have to pay for it anymore.
And the other question for the HRC piece of it is, do you actually collect data that can be used for industry reporting or otherwise?
That's another thing. We do, it's a little bit of a manual process, and if anyone has tried to get in touch with Telegram, you'll realize that it's just not easy, but I am looking into finding somebody that can do some data collection. I have not deleted a single thing off my phone since we started, and neither has my associate Kaiwan. And trying to get that information to somebody to massage that and get us some information out.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So the data, for example, is come out in Excel, or how would the data come out of the HRC, do you know?
That's what I'm trying to figure that out. Most likely a Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
And so that we can actually, there are certain days that you can just look at a day. Days take if I don't open up my HRC, I could look at my HRC and I can get a count of how many things have going on. And if I divide that by 2, that kind of gives you an idea of how many calls are going in. Because it takes at least, let's say 2 to tango, it takes at least 2 transactions to get HRC call completed. 3 primarily if it's just your as soon as possible type of call.
Okay, fair enough.
I invite anybody to try the HRC. If you don't like it, you just leave it. But I think that some people are just skeptical about it, but and other guys ain't telling anybody about it because it means more work for them.
Okay. All right, that's that call. Thank you. We're gonna try to wrap it up now. Let's just see real fast. Oh my dear, all the calls are coming now. Okay, people are commending you for your ability to explain different things. Okay, and next question is, but you may not be able to answer that, is it a requirement for all taxis and rideshare to be on a specific app? And if the answer is yes, what app is that? I'm not sure that's...
Say that again?
Are all taxi drivers and rideshare required to be on the same app?
No, they are required to sign up with every dispatch company. So that is what government has said.
For rideshare?
For rideshare. They're supposed to be able to sign up with every dispatch company. So whether they do or not, I don't know how that's going to be regulated, but if they only sign up with one dispatch company, their only 1 minute barrier is going to be with those people on that dispatch company.
So it's to the disadvantage not to sign up with everybody. So if Anthony, for example...
If it's for free, then might as well.
Gotcha, okay. Fair enough. All right, I think there's all the questions. I think to make sure. We are well beyond the time now. Well, we're beyond the time, which is not a big deal. Brother Glenn, if you're listening, thank you for allowing me to go beyond my time. He is excellent when it comes to allowing these things, especially when people are calling in, because we know that people are interested in what's going on. Okay, so I've done those questions there. Check this plan real fast.
You got it.
See, Ms. Pringle?
You know technology.
Your alumni
Always fun.
is at least checking to see what the people are saying. Let's see. Oh, well. Question: do you have any idea about the medallions on taxes? Is that to prove you can do a tour?
Medallions that's like a U.S. version of the permit.
Okay.
So that's the minimum I've seen it is at 50,000. But like right now, somebody put their tax. I know a friend who just bought his permit for 110,000.
Okay.
And that permit, I mean, like I said, if
that's without a car, right?
That's with a car.
The car, okay.
Yeah. If somebody put their permit out there tonight, it would be you would get.
Yes.
You would get so many offers. People know the value of the taxi. It doesn't matter what's in your head and you thinking it's going to be devalued. How do you devalue something that's actually been paid for over and over again?
Sure.
How do you devalue it?
Well, different question. It's actually interesting in terms of refund. So if I order a taxi the night before and they take my credit card and I cancel the next morning, do I still have to pay for it, the taxi?
Depends on which dispatch company you're using, but if you call a reliable driver like myself, you don't have to pay anything.
Wow.
So,
all right. Good evening, caller. I'm trying my best. What's your question or comment?
Yes, good evening. I'll keep it short and sweet as well. Ms. Pringle, you're doing a good job there tonight.
Oh, these are paid advertisements. Surely. Go ahead. Sorry.
I might have missed some of your
No worries.
calls tonight, but to say that, has any of the insurance companies come aboard and accepted or are willing to insure these ride-share vehicles yet? Because last I knew, no insurance company had come aboard to sign up or to insure these vehicles.
I called the three insurance companies, and they did not have a policy to offer. And I was then called by mistake by one of the companies who thought that I was going to be in a meeting that they were going to be having with TCD last week. So as far as I know, the insurance companies met with TCD last week, but nothing's been shared as to what type of insurance instrument has been offered. Because actually we might be interested in knowing what type of instrument they're offering private cars. I mean, we definitely are interested because we know what's offered to us. So as far as I know.
But I'm smiling, caller, because we all know that's a requirement. And so I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume, by the way, but government should have ensured that's in place, because you cannot put rideshare in place without the vehicles being insured, because we all know you cannot use your private car to have somebody pay to use it. And so that'll be contrary to your insurance policy, because if I charge Sherry to be in my car and I get in an accident, guess what? It's not going to be covered. It should be a major disaster. So, wow.
Correct. Yeah. This is a growing concern as far as those gypsy camps go as well.
Yes, that's correct.
And as I did hear some callers say that is not going to stop neither. But on the other hand, how are you going to fit 4 Americans in that little car?
Well,
there's certain classes that don't qualify for this. So there are certain classes that do, and there are certain classes that don't. So you won't have Kia Picantas and stuff like that. They won't be. And that's where I get back to my point. If you have to have an SUV that can carry some luggage, that's going to cost you. That annual insurance cost is pretty high. So there are certain classes that it has to be in order to qualify.
Sure.
So am I right in saying the government did not sort this out before they want to push this thing, as they're going to push it through? And here it is now, they made a law to have this ride share, but yet they don't even have insurance in place for these vehicles. I mean, how can that be so if on the government part doing such a thing like that to introduce this and don't have no insurance?
Well, let me protect myself by saying I'm not sure about that detail, and government can come and clarify in terms of what they put in place, because that is a fundamental requirement which they are aware of. That's for sure.
I'm sure. I'm sure one company is gonna fall for it.
Exactly. So I am less skeptical. It's a business opportunity.
It's still gonna leave up to them to regulate, and it's still gonna be interesting to see what they do if the gentlemen who decide to continue doing gypsy cab work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
this is it. No insurance still. But anyway, keep up the good work, ma'am, and
thank you, sir.
Done very well at it, and I hope that all our colleagues do understand what's at stake here. Thank you, and enjoy your rest of your evening.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
I think we're up to the challenge. That's the great thing about it. We're definitely up to the challenge.
Sure. Well, you get the last word in this instance. We are at almost 10:15. But you get your final comment. And thank you. I would say, well, let you finish first and I'll comment. Go ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me speak on behalf of the taxi industry. As I told you, I'm not an authority, but I do love this industry.
But it's not an authority mean that you're not part of anything?
I'm not part of anything official, and I don't know it all. I don't know everything. I'm not the be all and end all. I just
Okay, hold on a second.
speak
No
from
one
my
knows
experience.
everything, but you have experience, you have knowledge, and you have a breadth of information in terms of, like you say, your papa, your mama, your daddy, all the way down, mama and daddy,
Yeah.
all the way down, right?
Yeah.
And you are actually in the industry, so you know from that point of view, speaking from
Right. Yeah.
and also what you've said is that you do more than drive. You do
Yeah.
background information, billing, whatever. So you do have a good idea
Yeah.
about all these things. And so,
I
yeah.
just want to let the guys know I'm here to help. If you're interested in the credit card information, the WOI, the getting on the HRC, test driving type for a taxi, just use all the tools that are available to you to help you get through your day and
Sure.
make you actually end up making a little bit more money than you would just by sticking with your dispatch company.
Gotcha. And I'll say again, thank you now. Number one, because I know you, and I knew that you do drive, and for coming in terms of representing the taxi industry. And when I asked you, you didn't say, I'll come for me. You said right away, I'm coming for the taxi industry. And I think that's very, very important. And clearly, you provided a breadth of information, a breadth of opinions. A lot of the calls went to the whole ride share. And what I'll do is I'll probably have somebody else come on like maybe a month or two to see how it's going. I do think it's interesting that they extended the deadline. And like one of the earlier callers, I did think about going through the process of applying for it to experience the process. I didn't do so, just time didn't permit, I suppose, to understand it. But also, my car might not qualify, by the way. My wife would not want it to qualify, so that may be an issue also. But again, it's an interesting opportunity for us to see how we're going to manage. And you also said, as did others, that now's the time for the taxi operators to actually up their game, as it were, because I know from my own perspective now that we have to make sure that we provide value for money. It's not cheap to come to Bermuda, but people are happier to pay if they perceive getting good value. So how do you present yourself? How you dress? The vehicle being clean, the vehicle being very well prepared. As you say, when you're driving them, to talk to them, give them information, and to be receptive to what's going on. And I think those are things which allow people to appreciate. And unfortunately, right, what you do know is that in many cases, you have been successful because they pay you over and above the actual fare. It's an indication, that you've done a good job. And so some people say, talk yourself into a tip. In some respects. And, when you're on vacation, you do lose your mind sometimes. And so people are prepared to be generous. And so that's my comment for the industry. Again, thank everyone for joining us here tonight. We know people are still listening because they are calling in and sending in messages. But we are going to end at this point in time. Brother Glenn, Sister Graham, we thank you on behalf of the Inter-Island Communication of stations. Because I say this every week, what they have determined, right, is that Magic is going to be a talk show station for Bermuda, and it does work. So every day throughout the entire week, people come on talk shows, and it allows members of the public to interact, because you may not be aware, but some people are actually home, bedridden, and unable to get out, and this is the communication with the public. And so again, thank you. And again, I'll say to Sherry, keep doing what you do, because it's important, as you said, when people get in the taxi, it's an opportunity to make a relationship. And as you said before, which I did not realize this, is that a lot of times when people come to the island, they may call you first to say, what do you recommend? What's available? Are you going to be on the island yourself to transfer me around? And then clearly, if they're coming back, it means that they enjoy what you do for them, and they'll tell others about the same thing. And we know that word of mouth is the most powerful advertiser you can get, because that means somebody speaking from experience. And so again, I'll say thank you to the listening audience. Thank you again for tuning in. Please, 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 if you're out about early or late, wear a high-vis vest, a light, a lamp, or something to make sure we can see you, because people are driving fast, unfortunately. They're tired. They're not paying attention. They're on the cell phone, whatever they're doing. And it's good to make sure that they see you as early as possible to avoid any undue collisions. I'll say thank you once again. Lord willing, we'll be back next week with another exciting guest. And each week we go through and try to decide what we think is going to be of value. This week, of course, we celebrated Bermuda Day. And last week we had the people from the Marathon Derby coming on board, Miss Melissa and Brother Tucker there. And so we made another show like that because I want to again get a chance to tap into the energy that was last week. and to speak to the positiveness of Bermuda and ensure that we have this, I think, a positive start to what is going to be a busy season. You know, people are coming to Bermuda, and one of the things they tell me all the time is that just the clear blue water, when they're flying in, that's the first thing they see. When they land, it's like wow, 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 and then they go from there. And so again, to listen, thank you very much, and again to you, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, good night, Bermuda. Back to 1 second.
You've been listening to Insight. Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now. Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now. Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.